Shout out to the Detroit Pistons, man. Jeez. These guys just feisty. Feisty. Hats off. From a Knicks fan, hats off. I'm flying slow today. Let's get into the box scores with this one. The Pistons beat the Knicks 106-103. Cade Cunningham 24, 8 and 8. Amen Thompson with his best game of the series, 22.7 boards. Tobias Harris with 17 and 8 for the Knicks. OG Anunoby 19 points, 8 rebounds. Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson both struggled today. Karl-Anthony Towns with 17 points, Jalen with 16. The Knicks still lead the series 3-2, but I'll tell you what, as a Knicks fan, not feeling good. First, let's talk Detroit Pistons. They won the game. They deserve all the credit in the world. I think defensively, they set a tone right from the beginning. The Knicks could get nothing going offensively in the half court. Just a brutal offensive game from Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. A lot of that has to do with Asur Thompson. I mean, if I'm just being straight up with you, putting Asur Thompson on Jalen Brunson the whole game pretty much messed up Jalen Brunson's night. He shut him down. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. And not just Asur Thompson either. I mean, just the ball pressure from the Detroit Pistons for the whole night was fantastic, and the Knicks did absolutely nothing to negate that. There was little pick and roll with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. There was little off-ball movement. The Knicks just shot themselves in the foot again, just like they did in Game 2, where it was just kind of like, let's take 8 seconds to bring up the ball. Let's try to find a mismatch. And by the time we do that, there's 6-7 seconds left on the shot clock, and sometimes we don't even have a mismatch we want. There was very little ball movement. The first basket they got, the first good basket they got came off of a cut from Karl-Anthony Towns on a give and go from Josh Hart, and that was like 6 minutes into the game. The Pistons just played phenomenal defense. JB Bickerstaff has this team just amped and ready to go. I mean, you look at these videos after the game and even before the game. I mean, this team believes that they can win this series still. Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley talking crap on the X on Twitter. And like I said before, I've been saying this all series. I think there's a huge talent discrepancy here. Not that Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder, not that these guys are bums by any means, but for in large part, they have been fringe rotation players or back-end rotation players, with the exception of Tobias. But Tobias was disappointing in Philadelphia. But they have been fringe rotation players for teams that have been pretty good or contenders, but just never really worked out. And here they are playing huge roles for a Pistons team that's just Cade Cunningham and everybody else. That's what it feels like, at least. Cade played well today. I think he didn't settle for mid-range jumpers this game. He attacked the rim. I think he played well there. Asur Thompson cutting to the hoop. I think it felt like all his points were dunks. And I thought the Knicks played great defense. I really did. I don't think the Pistons did anything special on the offensive end. I think they struggled all night, just like the Knicks did. It was a knock 'em out, drag 'em out type game. And if I'm a Pistons fan, I'm happy because I don't think this was the A game from the Pistons. I don't think the Pistons showed up to the Garden, played their A game, and won. I think they showed up. They played great defense. They, thought it out on offense, and they won. And you won with your B- type game. And if you're a Pistons fan, you got to be happy about that, right? Because you beat the Knicks on their home court in a closeout game when you didn't even play your best. So shout out to the Pistons there, man. I mean, Jalen Duren again has been a beast all series. The Knicks just cannot find a way to get anything consistent on this Pistons defense in the half court. And it's just really frustrating unless it's Brunson, being, the all NBA point guard that he is, like he was in the fourth quarter in Game 4. Unless it's Karl-Anthony Towns hitting difficult step back threes like he did at the end of Game 4, baseline fadeaways. There have been stints in Detroit where the Knicks were running and getting in transition, but the Pistons had cut that off for the most part. I mean, the Knicks got out and ran a little bit today, but, the Pistons defensively, just a lot better than I imagined them being in this series. I knew they were going to come and try to make this a physical series. I knew that the Knicks team is not the same Knicks team as last year. A little worried about that, and so far, the Pistons are living up to the billing of, the new bad boys. You can say what you want about, the lack of talent, and maybe they're complaining a little bit to the refs, and I agree. I think they're complaining a little too much. I think they don't realize the whistle that they're getting on their end. It's kind of ridiculous that they think they're getting the short end of the stick here, but all in all, they're still showing up, they're still playing, and they're still being tough. From the Knicks side of things, got to start moving the ball on offense. You got to get into your actions quicker. I know it's hard when the ball's going through the hoop and they're pressuring you full court, but you have to find a way to get over that half-court line quicker. You have to find a way to get into actions quicker because this is not going to work against a Pistons team that is this good defensively on the perimeter. It's just not going to work. There's nowhere to hide, really. There's no weak link on this Pistons defense at all. So for you to bring up the ball, take 7-8 seconds to bring up the ball, then dribble around like Jalen Brunson's been doing, not running really actions. You might have a screen for Jalen Brunson, but it's just trying to create for a mismatch. And then, there's some possessions where you're just dribbling up the clock with Jalen Brunson and hoping he's doing something. Got to get out, got to run, got to get other players in rhythm like you did early on in Game 4, because if you don't, it's going to be a long night in Detroit again in Game 6. This is not going to be an easy game in Game 6. It's not going to be an easy game in Game 7 if you lose that one. They have to figure out a way to get easy buckets against this Pistons team, because right now this Pistons defense has him in jail, and they've had him in jail for most of the series. The Knicks have found spurts like they did in Game 1 with the 21-0 run that had a lot to do with them turning the Pistons over and getting easy transition buckets. They need to do more of that. This series is not over by any means. It is not over. The Pistons can still win this series, and a lot of that has to do with their defense. Tom Thibodeau, he's going to get killed in the New York media today. He just is. I'm recording this early morning, Wednesday morning. He's going to get killed once the lines open up. There's just no way around it. You keep Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson waiting at the scorer's table for minutes while the Pistons take a 6-point lead. It's just, I know you had one timeout. Timeouts are very valuable at the end of games because they can advance the ball, things of that nature. I get it. I understand why he held on to it. But you cannot, once the Pistons go up, you got to get your best player in the game, period. You have to. There's no other solution there. You have to. You can't watch the Pistons go up 6 and still not call a timeout. By the time Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart got into the game, it was 2 over. And it was a valiant effort to get back. Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby both hit threes. Too little too late, though. The game was over by then. Shout out to Cade Cunningham. Clutch 3. Huge 3. They go under on the screen. He hits the 3. The Pistons just focused team, man. A well-coached team. JB Bickerstaff deserves a lot of credit here. He deserves a lot of credit for shutting down both Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson in Game 5. Jalen was awful today. He was awful today. Resorted back to a lot of the stuff he did in Game 2, dribbling around. The Knicks offense looked stagnant again. Kind of disappointing. You thought they figured it out in Detroit for a little bit, but they didn't. So, back to the drawing board. Would like to see more actions off the ball. Would like to see more pick and rolls with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Don't know why they're going away from that. Does not make any sense to me. But that's what we're in right now. The Knicks are in a dogfight, again, with the Detroit Pistons. I had this in 5. It could have went 5. I thought it should have went 5, but the Pistons, this is a resilient team. You got to give them credit. Got to tip your hat to the Detroit Pistons. They came to the Garden. They beat the Knicks fair and square. I know the refs have been kind of a storyline this series. I thought the refs called a tighter game. I think bad calls went both ways. I know Knicks fans are complaining about a goaltending call and fouls here and there, but don't listen to them. The Pistons won this game fair and square. There's nothing to complain about from a referee standpoint. There's just not. So shout out to Detroit. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Pistons fans. We will see you Thursday night at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit for Game 6. My Game 6 prediction, I actually think the Pistons are going to win. I'm not a doomsday Knicks fan, but I do. If you do go back and listen to everything that I've said prior to the Detroit series, because I thought this would be an easier series, I'm not going to lie. But if you listen to our episodes and our other game recaps throughout the season, never really had faith in this Knicks team. I don't think they're that great. I think that they're softer than this Pistons team. I think they can be had. Last year the Knicks dropped Game 5 at home and then went to Philadelphia and won a Game 6. But that was a different Knicks team. And this Pistons team is setting the tone. It's hard for me to see the Pistons losing 3 straight games. This Pistons team losing 3 straight games at home. That's tough. I think we're going to a Game 7 here. So I'm taking the Pistons in Game 6. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Kwab will be back. He's just under the weather today. So hopefully we'll be back today. We got the Rockets, Warriors, and the T-Wolves, Lakers. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think in the comments. You can follow me everywhere at Josh _, Rodriguez_, and you can follow the show everywhere at the Dime NBA. Until our next game recap tonight, I will see you later. Peace.